I think our opinion of a book is tightly linked to one's circumstances when reading it. I am a firm believer that there is a right time and a right place to read a book, and the exact same characterization, the exact same prose, and essentially the same book can feel quite bland and formulaic and overall quite just depending on how receptive you are to it. So when the celestial bodies align and you just click with a narrative, that is just the best sensation in the literary world. And that's exactly what happened when I read the Kingkiller Chronicle. I was at the right time and the right place to absolutely connect with this wonderful story. And that's why I thought it was high time that I addressed the Rothfuss situation. If you're not familiar with the author, you might have missed possibly one of the most controversial topics in the fantasy community in the past couple of years. More than 2 years ago, during a live stream for one of his fundraisers for the charity enterprise War Builders that he created, Rothfuss promised an entire unseen chapter from the third installment of his trilogy, From the Doors of Stone. So fans from all over the world rallied and donated, I think it was close to $1.5 million. And, well, we never saw that chapter. All we had was unperturbed silence for the better part of 2-3 years, right up until a couple of weeks ago.
I feel really bad about the chapter. I feel bad about it. It's what I do. I'm like, oh, let's do a thing. I'll do this. Cool. But if I'm going to do it, why don't I do this? And why don't I have a bunch of people and they can record themselves reading it? And it's like, well, I should brush up the text. I should do art. I should get a video editor. Suddenly it's a huge thing.
Now, it would be really easy and quite frankly misleading if I started throwing blindly sensationalistic statements like he defrauded his fans and he scammed us, he blatantly lied to us, etc., etc. Some may say this is only because he has had to promote his new novella, The Narrow Road Between Desires, which also some people may think it's a diversionary tactic to sort of distract us from the fact that he didn't deliver what he promised. But I think we ought to take a moment, just relax, just step back, grab a cup of tea, and let's take a trip to the past, because all of this is not new. Rothfuss is a native of the state of Wisconsin and an eternal student. He spent 9 years as an undergraduate in Stevens Point University, taking classes like chemistry or anthropology, before he amassed enough credits to be kindly asked to graduate already. After grad school, he went on to teach English, and all the while he was writing what his friends and relatives knew as the book, which began as early as 1993. Which in itself gives you a little bit of perspective. The conception of this book is 4 years older than I am. Damn. Well, anyway, it wasn't until he won the contest Writers of the Future with an abridged version of a chapter that his writing picked up some traction in the publishing industry. In 2007, Door Books published the first part of the book under the title The Name of the Wind.
I am Patrick Rothfuss, author of Name of the Wind, my first book.
It received incredible praise and became an instant international bestseller, lauded as one of the most exciting, lyrical, fleshed-out, all-round astounding fantasy debuts in decades. This success cemented Rothfuss in the fantasy community and enabled the continuation of what would become the Kingkiller Chronicle. But this is where things get a bit dicey.
Steer away from the second book in that case. Or, better yet, read the second book, learn to love it.
And we all know A Wise Man's Fear came out in 2011, 4 years after the publication of the first book. And if you don't count the two novellas and those weird non-children books that he wrote, those are weird. Anyway, if you don't count those, it has been 13 years, and we yet have to see the Doors of Stone.
Anyway, I really should get some food in me. I probably haven't eaten in a while. Yeah, there we go. That's the level I'm at. I probably haven't eaten in a while.
Whenever you're involved in any creative enterprise, you are putting forth a piece of your cerebral abstraction that you have created from nothingness and now submitted to public evaluation. That's just part of the deal. When you become a successful author, you also become a celebrity of sorts. Someone that is loved, but also unfairly vilified. So, in Rothfuss's defense, I would like to put forth several arguments. This absolute monster, this printer of a human being, is spoiling the fantasy community, and to be quite honest with you, the publishing industry. You see, the thing we have to understand is that not everyone is wired to machine gun several thousand words of writing every day. We have different ways of working, and it was Sanderson himself that said that whilst he was a compulsive writer and a terrible reviser, Rothfuss was a terrible writer in terms of output and a compulsive reviser. And that is just what his modus operandi is. Rothfuss labors over a piece of writing over years. He analyzes it, he decomposes it, puts it back together, sees it from a different angle. That's why we have such deep, amazing, intricate lyrical prose. That's why on every reading you find something new and it feels like distilled poetry. I mean, for Christ's sakes, in Rhythm of War, Sanderson put the word cringe-worthy. Okay, I'll lay off Sanderson because it's actually one of my favourite authors and his influence is monumental for the fantasy community. I'm just using him to illustrate a point.
Is the incorporation of new ideas stalling your writing? No. The problem is I wrote the whole thing, and then I worked on the first piece of it, turning it into The Name of the Wind for years, like years and years and years. And then I sold it. I mean, I got an agent in the year 2002, and I worked on it for 4 years until 2006. And then we sold it to the publisher, and then I revised it more. And it was published in 2007. And I didn't go on and change the rest of the book. And then I worked on Wise Man's Fear for a long time. There were a ton of problems with it. And it didn't match up with the first book anymore in a lot of places because I'd changed so much and improved it, and characters had been added and character stories had been developed and expanded on. So then I had to do all of that. Plus I was a better writer then, so I really fleshed things out and did a bunch of stuff. And then I was like, well, and so now book 3, I mean, originally what was the third part of this huge story, a lot of it was written in like 98, like so long ago. I was not as good a writer, and even the parts of it that are good writing are, didn't match up with the parts of the book that I had changed to make the story function better.
As someone that has had to edit a novel, and a much, much shorter one at that, this sounds like literal hell. I can feel the anxiety coming, coupled with the immense pressure when I think about his situation. I would also like to see how you would fare if every time you log into your social media, your Twitch, your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, all you see is, you lazy piece of shit, where is my book? It's hellish. It's years upon years of constant demands, of incredible pressure, of something that goes against your own style of writing. He's a human being. Of course he would want to avoid this relentless psychological torture.
Do you ever feel like the third book might not live up to the expectations of the fandom? Absolutely. That's the thing that keeps me awake at night. Literally, I wake up having fear about that. It is rough. It is very, I do feel that.
Rothfuss has always been very open about talking his mental health, and I think coming from a healthcare background, this is very important to destigmatizing the whole conversation about mental health, which is hugely important. And this is not to use it as an excuse. This is very useful in contextualizing his psyche. It's very easy to fall into the egotistical trap, in the reader emperor syndrome of, I want my book and I want it now. F you, where is my thing? Mine, me. It's all about us readers. But no one thinks about him as an author, as a human. I understand there's been money somewhat exchanged and promises unmet, but he's just a man. He's just a father, a husband that is trying to deal with the crushing burden of existence the best way he can. So my advice is to stop expecting. To simply, in the best possible way, stop expecting. It has been evident that his way of working is different and very probably incompatible with our standards for modern day publishing. And we may or may not see the third book, but in the meantime, there is literally hundreds of books coming out each day. And some of them are hidden gems, some of them are incredible. Go and read them. And then maybe one day you'll find out, you'll be surprised that the third book has come out. But stop going after him. This video has been a long time coming, and I just wanted to make it so that people understand, people just don't use the narrow focus and just pull back a little bit and see the whole picture. I hope you liked it. I hope if you stuck this far, thank you. Let me know in the comments what you think about the whole situation in a calm, civilized manner. I'm always up for calm, civilized debate. No random call-outs or where's my book? Give me my book. Okay, that's it. That's the video. Let's just be kind. Let's just be kind. It's not difficult. The world would be so much better if everyone just be relaxed and kind. Okay, I'm going now. I'll see you in the next one.